Well, good night to all. Good evening. Not good night. Good evening, my people. Howdy. How was your day, folks? Good? Yes, we are together again. It is 8:08 p.m. And the truth is, I was not going to come on tonight again. Wow. Well, because I'm getting ready to leave. But I'm happy to be here with you. My friends, welcome to the program. Tonight, I'm expecting you to call to keep me on the air. All right? If nobody calls, I'm leaving at about 8:30. All right? But we're together again, and I want to thank all of you for your support, your love. Please share the platform as we get ready to fire off. Yes. We got some results yesterday, but I'm not going to tell you what the results are. But hello, we got some results. Okay, so one of our gadgets, it is we lost something there on our sound system, but hey, it is what it is. But we're happy to be here tonight. Brethren, I tell you the truth. I was early at the morning at the airport, then went to bed very late. And then all day I was in meetings, I was in therapy, I was everywhere, trying to keep myself young and stuff, and vibrant, because we have a lot of work to do. All right? We have a lot of work to do on the island of St. Lucia. And I'll tell you, I've already dedicated myself to getting the work done. And I don't care who come in the way, who gets in the way. We are going to get to work. We're not going to allow anybody to derail us from doing what we're here to do. So just get accustomed. Some of them ignored me, Some ignored me to their detriment. This will be the platform to usher in a new movement, a new United Workers' Party into government. We are going to see that through. So, hooray! Yes, we're together. Tonight we're going to just have a little fun. Last night we had it tough. We had a serious program. And, we stepped on Uncle Conquerors and Uncle. We stepped on some toes, but we're here tonight and we're going to do some work. So, Brethren, it is good to be here with you. I hope that you had a beautiful day, boss lady. Good day to you. Pleasant good evening to you, boss lady, over on our YouTube channel. We're expecting our YouTube viewers to grow over there in the next few seconds. We'll be monitoring it. Please share the live as you join. Those of you on Facebook, thank you so much for being here with us. I want to take the opportunity to thank you. You are showing up in large numbers. And from the time we've started, we're over 1 million viewers. And it is all because of you that we've gotten to those figures, all right? This month alone, I think we're over maybe 80,000 or almost 100,000 viewers. And we have a number of reactions, maybe 70 or 60,000. So continue sharing, continue liking, continue following. Those of you who have not followed the program, some people don't know how to follow the program. You've got to go to Caribbean American News Media and press follow or like. All right? In order for us to get those numbers going. Because as we grow the numbers, then guess what? The Labour Party start watching. They start being concerned that there's a movement growing. And this is where we protest. We protest on these platforms as we grow the numbers. From going forward, our numbers should be in the 600 when we are live. Each one, tell one, encourage persons to come on, because we are building a movement. And this movement is a positive movement. This movement is a righteous movement. This movement, I'm not saying we're a perfect movement, because we are human, we are fragile, and we are subject to errors and mistakes. But I'm saying to you that this will be the movement that will usher in a new era on the island of St. Lucia. So join the movement, my St. Lucie. Yes, join the movement. I took a little half an hour rest when I a few minutes ago, and it helped to rejuvenate my body because I did not sleep. Had a lot of meetings today. Was in Brooklyn, was in Queens, was all over the place. So bear with me tonight. Tonight, you know how we get. We start slow and then we end up in a whole set of bacchanal. Y'all know y'all love the bacchanal, eh? So call a friend, tag a hack. Bring everybody on. Lauren Hippolyte, I miss you talking to you. You know, for some reason we have been far apart for the past week. I know you're busy, I'm busy, and oh my God. But thank you, Lauren. You're one of them who stood there with me through thick and thin, with the encouragement and support. And by the way, the food at Forest there that I ate, that was the most beautiful thing that I had. Oh my Lord, the rice, the special rice. I'm not even going to give them the name because, just last night I was lying down, couldn't sleep, and I start thinking about the people that have done so good to me. In St. Lucia, even my friend Laurencia and all the others. There are a lot of you, I can't call all the names, brethren. I know Malcolm, Majom, toujours là, Wilson, all these people, Alfred, Raymond, Pamela, Evelyn, Alfred, Bonnet, Lawrence, Haynes, Bravo, by the way, Bravo is my buddy. All right, that's my buddy right there. So nobody mess with him. C'est juste ça, na mahe di fe. All right, na protect se moun mwen. Tout se moun na ba live la. Moi ki spiritual support zo. Moi ki like zo. PSD bo pa kaya fek zo. Trust me, zo sa dormi. Feme ze zo ek dormi. Mwen like zo. Nou la. C'est juste ça, abode foot. Bon, tell ma pouvoir. Mwen ni pouvoir tell ma c'est juste ça. That now where bagay ou check li, le na pwede bagay ka vini, bodye ka deliver. C'est ça na we ou check li. Bon, mwen teni un bon ti. I had some good calls today. Let me just put up my volume a bit. But I had some really good calls today, friends. I can tell you that, there are beautiful people out there who love the program. I got a good call, a very good call today, but I'm not going to tell you why, But all I can say to you is that we were firing on all cylinder last night, and we'll continue to fire on all cylinder. But as I always say to you, friends, I'm concerned also about your spiritual life, So, that is important, very important, because munka most people are dying quick. So your eternal destiny is very important to me. I'm after your soul, all right? I am after your soul. And at the same time, I'm also here to assist you as you live down here on this side of life. As I always say to you, I'm not one of those Christians who believe that I should withdraw myself because you guys are either Babylonians, sinners, unbelievers, blah, 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 all the names that we call you guys. Listen to me. I'm here with you. I'm in the gutter with you. I'm in the trench with you. And I want to be exactly where the sinners are. I want to be exactly where the homosexual are. I want to be exactly where the rum drinkers are. I want to be exactly where the prostitutes are. I want to be exactly where that woman who got pregnant, either in school or in church, and she's abandoned by church people, abandoned by society. That's where I want to be, where the zombies are, where the addicts are. That's where I want to be. So let all the self-righteous people hold their corner. All of you who think that you're better than them and better than this and you're better than the rum drinker, you hold your corner, because I'll tell you, if you ask me to choose between a gossiper and a rum drinker, I will choose a rum drinker. At least I can work with him and help him to get sober. But some of you, you can't change. You can't change. You lie, you spread stuff that you don't know about on your own families. You're not willing to help anybody. So don't come and tell me about me, oh, you're Christian, you're this and that, and you blah, 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 blah. Hold your corner, please. You stay out of my alley. I stay out of yours. You don't decide my Christianity. and I don't decide yours. I present Jesus to you when I have my religious programs. It's up to you to accept or reject. Moi fini. Once I tell you about the love of God and you reject it, that's your problem, not mine. But my job is to tell you that you have a loving Savior. You have a God who loves you. You have a Jesus who died for you. He says to you, come unto me, all who have labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. So once I tell you that and you reject, Zafo Kila, Mahafini. Why me? That's my job, and I'm an evangelist. Ma'am. So don't come, and I don't want a self-righteous person to come. And I'm telling you, I'm rebuking self-righteous people. Pa vini ek betizu. Ou pa fè rien bay moun, ou la assise dans l'église ou just ka mal parler moun, ka gossip. Ou check li? Bon, ça me dit, nous ka fire off or swear. But right now we just settling in. So I want you all to call your friends, your enemies, the hackalacks, everybody, tell them come. Tell them your preacher man is here. Eku like preacher man, where? Preacher man plus political pundit. Where? Mukila. Alright? So, I am saying to you, friends, I don't want any self-righteous, anybody on the platform to come to cast judgment on any one of my people here. All of them know, all of us know that we have defect. Some of us, we have issues that we have to overcome. Some of you have not even tried to overcome it. Some of you like being in sin. By the way, that will get you into hell. Some of you are hoping that a priest will tell you you're going to heaven when you're dead. And you are hoping for a lot of things. But I'm telling you the truth. All right? I'm saying how you live is how you die. Period. So, as I always say to you, while you are jumping up behind politicians, jump up behind Jesus. Secure your salvation first, and everything else will be added. If you seek Christ first, all your victory will be added. You want the UWP to be in power? God will answer your prayer. But some of you don't care hoot about Jesus, whether he crucified or risen. Why me? Let's go on. Okay? Join me on Friday night for religious studies. Ek sou vle batize di mwen, I batize zo. Parorek se hypocrite la. Ma hypocrite, mwen like zo. And I want the world to know that mwen like zo. Where? Nou la Sam, one family. Where? Like, mwen I ain't going to heaven and leave you all. When I go to heaven, I want to see all of you up there. There's enough mansions for Tutmun, for everybody. There's enough mansions for my friend Lorraine and her husband, Maria. Who else? Mary, Lamontine, Dr. Fletcher, Lisa, Morris, Pearl. There'll be no massages in heaven. Me ukaila, like moi. Ayerson, all of you, Alfred, Maurice, Sylvester, Martial, Shalry, St. Helen, Price, Duncan, Hippolyte, Malcolm, Pear, all of you, Leon, let me see, I have Bonnet, Lawrence, yeah, Bravo, all of you, there's room and mansions for everybody, Tutmun, because the Bible says that there are mansions prepared for Tutmun, everybody. Biso parale ko ha. Zoni put do but mal pale moun, zoni put do but gossip. You all have to stop all the hatred, the jealousy, the scandalizing, and all the stuff that uno do. All that got to be stopped in order for us to take charge or take title for one of those mansions. But let's go on, because mom just got these are paving for me. Don't come for me tonight. All right? Good. Annually, Martin, you too. Markite Martin, Martin key campaign manager why me? Let's go on then. Good. So I heard that there was a group gossiping about me. I said to you good night group that was gossiping me. I hope you feel better about yourself. I hope all is well with you. Bunch of gossipers. One day your tongue will cleave to your mouth. Dele tongue kai ale sou kote ekupa kai sa dinyen ko about moon. Wete la ek mal pale moon. Where? I know what let me say. Let's go. Let's get to work. All right. Brethren, you know, last night we actually had to do some work for the United Workers Party, we had some promotions. For some reason, I just can't find them. All right, I had the promotions set for those presentations. Let me see if I can find them. It is a new presentation with the events. Okay, so we will do promotions. I think the promotions are way at the front, Mr. Producer. Okay, good. We have it here. All right. So here's what's happening. Let's go through these events so that you can be aware of what is happening. Remember that I am not an official voice of the United Workers Party. This platform is powered by you, the people. It is not the official organ of the United Workers Party. And you know what it is. It's United Workers Party friendly. And we are on the the train to victory. Okay? So whatever content that you see here, you hear, any of our sponsors, whatever it is, you will see on this platform going forward. They are my views. Whatever views that you hear on this platform, they are mine. All right? They are not the official, they are not official statements or views of the United Workers Party. I just want to make that clear. All right? So, leo we mo ka fe bagay mo igna wizo, igna creator uncle and cheese girls say mokila, not the United Workers Party. Annually. Annually. Yes, sir. Let's get to work. Okay? Annually. Let's get to work. Yes, sir. Yeah. Good. So, upcoming events, brethren. This is the upcoming schedule of United Workers Party 2023 schedule, and these are schedules that you must pay attention to. They are subject to change. When I say subject to change, events can change them, such as natural disasters, death, sickness, unforeseen events can cause this schedule to be altered, change. Let's go to the 21st of May. That is gone. 21st of May, what we had was Sunday Vibes, Domino Dance, and Cricket. The Bel Air playing field. That was at 10 a.m. And I am sure that would have been a good cricket match and everything over there in Bel Air at the playing field. Let's go to the 28th of May. These are going forward. The 28th of May, Friends and Family Barbecue. Jordan's Bar and Grill. Marsha, and that is at midday. All right, midday. So that is on the 28th of May, Friends and Family Barbecue. Anyway, see Motel as a barbecue pork, but annually. 28th of May, Friends and Family Barbecue, Jordan's Bar and Grill, Marsha, and that is at 12 noon. Let's go on to the 28th again. 28th of May, we have Country and Western Dance, the Warehouse, Bexo Highway at 4 p.m. Again, that is on the 28th of May at 4 p.m. So that's after you have left the barbecue in Castries at midday. Then you're going up to the Bexo Highway at 4 p.m. at the Warehouse for Country and Western Dance. St. Lucia and Zokota Country and Western, we mama. Now on the 3rd of June, the United Workers Party Community Night, and that is where is that? I can't pronounce that. It's somewhere in Viewfort at 10 p.m., all right? Viewfort, some of the names there, I can't pronounce it. Yeah, we'll figure that out, okay? So it's the 3rd of June, and that will be in Viewfort at 7 p.m. We'll have clarification on that, okay? All right, folks, so let's get back to work. There's something that I have some concern about, Fevrin. That's DSH, yes. Thank you, Mother. Brethren, let me show you something in Castries that is bothering me. It bothers me really bad, and it hurts my feelings, and I'm going to show you, because you know why it hurts my feelings. One, it's outside of a few steps away from House of Parliament, and it can be a hazard. It could cause some serious pain to an innocent person. Let's go over there to that picture, folks. So here is a picture of the sidewalk in Castries. That's when you go into the boulevard and you make a left going down to Parliament House. At the stoplight, as you get closer to the stoplight there is this hazard. Now, this hazard has been there for a very long time. And I'll tell you something about it. The city council building is just on the other block, a few steps away from this hole. Now, Richard Frederick, the speaker, government ministers would have been passing on this sidewalk to go do their business. I want you to look at it carefully. Now, the problem here is not only the hole, but the problem is we have vendors who have taken up the better part of the road to sell their goods, and they're leaving now this big hole for you to walk in. Now, it has become a one-way foot traffic. Why? Because the vendors have taken up all the good walking space. What kind of society do we have? What have we become? What are we becoming under the St. Lucia Labour Party? Why? Boissez-vous. Okay, boissez-vous. Okay, good. Or bossez-vous. Look, let's go back. Let's just stick on this for a minute. Let's go back to this picture, folks. Your grandmother, your cousin, your son, you yourself can fall into this trap. Why? Because the vendors have taken up the better part of this sidewalk. And this is close to as I said, the House of Parliament. Now, guess what just happened? The House of Parliament, these guys just repaired their sidewalk and their parking lot. They made a bigger parking lot for themselves. I remember, and I'll tell you, I remember that it was Mr. Chastney who tried to get proper housing for the vendors. Fix the market, try to get clean space so that our vendors can sell their products. And I remember it was Mr. Richard Frederick who said, well, and the Labour Party, by the way, let's say the Labour Party, said to the vendors, oh man, that's part of our culture that you on the sidewalk. When we get in power, we'll free up everything. You can vend wheresoever you want. You can vend on the sidewalk, vend on the roof, you can vend everywhere. Anywhere you can sell, go and sell. The white man want to oppress us and take away our patronage, our patrimonies, and our culture. He don't understand our culture. But here is your culture: a broken leg, a broken foot, broken ankle. Can you imagine an elderly woman walking here, can barely see, trying to give way to the vendors? Look at that. The vendors have taken over the entire sidewalk. I know what many of you will say, well, they got to make money. No, you cannot make money at the expense, when I say expense, at the health of others. You cannot make money at the health of others and the safety of others. So there are times some of you would, as I walk here, some of you would have to jump on the road itself to escape from this hazard. The sanitation put a piece of wood in that thing. You think they would come and get some concrete and fix it up? You think they would ask the vendors to move from there and go to a better location? You think they would? Let me tell you something. You guys think politics is easy in St. Lucia? You think, and let me tell you, the people are so, I want to use a nice word. The people are so uninformed that they will celebrate any minister telling them to go and do their vending anywhere. Until one of them falls into this hole. Then you will, and by the way, if you fall there, ain't no money you getting from anybody. You got to go raise money, sell chicken and rum to get medical care. You already know what's going down. Huh? And now I heard if you get pregnant, then you will get some free service. So for those of you who can't get pregnant, you'll have to go sell barbecue, roast chicken, and sell rum in order to get your medical help. But why should we allow this? Why should we allow this to happen in this country? Why can't we maintain law and order in the country? Why? Why do we remove righteousness from the country? Why do we remove prayer from the country? Why do we remove civility from the country? Why? Because like somebody said on the news, well, that's what the people like. The people like the nasty music and everything else. They like the nasty music more than they like gospel. That's what I heard a guy said on an interview on the news. He said that you guys, you St. Lucians, one of your guys said it, not me, that you like more nasty music than you like gospel. That's why gospel artists are not popular in St. Lucia. You like to wind down pan this and wind down, go down low. That's what you like. And some of you senior people, you love that too, ain't it? You have arthritis. You can't even pick up something if it fall on the ground. But you like wind down and go down because it brings back precious memories to you, ain't it? Well, let me not be so hard on you, seeing that I consider us to be one. But I got to tell you the truth if I love you. Because it is this same truth that will set you and I free. So I'm not taking it back. But that sidewalk need to fix. We need to ensure that it is taken care of before somebody get into trouble. Period. Somebody will get into trouble. Huh? Let me show you something, friends. Remember the talk of a box? The hospital, remember the Labour Party not long ago? Some of you can't remember stuff. But do you remember that the Labour Party tagged the St. Jude's new hospital as a box? I'm just testing your memory. They said it is a box. Let me show you something. This is happening next to my home here in the United States. A box. This is one of the newest police stations that is being built in New York by the governor. You know what is happening here? The very same thing that took place at St. Jude's. And there was a guy who took pictures of St. Jude on the inside, and he showed you, look at the little things that are holding these cladding together, just some little stuff. That's not how you do it. That's not how you do it. The guy don't even know his foot from his head. I deliberately went here to see what was happening with how they were how they were securing these outside stuff, cladding, padding, whatever you call it. And brethren, the very same thing I saw. The very same thing I saw at St. Jude's. This one, they're putting in the glass between, and a beautiful building. Let me show you again. Beautiful building. Box. Ain't nothing in it. It's unfinished. So anytime you have an unfinished building, It's an unfinished building for those of you who are sophisticated and complicated. Huh? It's unfinished, therefore, what are you going to expect to be in it? Talk to me. What are you expecting to be in this building? The new St. Jude project? Huh? So we got to debunk, according to debunks all this nonsense that you hear with the intention of painting the Honorable Alan Shastney as one who don't know what he's doing. And may I remind you, St. Lucians, may I remind you, this box, the glory of Grozile, Orange Grove Plaza, that will be commissioned and let me show you something. It would be as a result of the man himself. And let me tell you something. I never really say a lot about this brother. But this brother is a human being with wisdom who loves his country. This man is a visionary man. This man will be the one to usher in the new St. Lucia. This will be the man to transform St. Lucia into this. You see this man? And I was doing some studies, friends. Stick with me. Mr. Shasta, give me a minute, all right? I'll bring you back. But let me say something, folks. Most of you can pretend that you don't remember John Compton. Now, let's talk about John Compton for a minute, right? John Compton was one of our... I am not even sure if I can say one of, but John Compton, the Honorable John Compton, was a visionary leader. You see, the United Workers' Party have always been a visionary party. A party that believed in building a better St. Lucia. Now stick with me. Now I've been doing a lot of serious studies from the BBC, from a lot of documentation on the island of St. Lucia, the prime ministers. And what I discover is that majority of the visionary leaders in St. Lucia have come on this heavy criticism over major projects in the country. The waterfront projects, those buildings. Labour Party fought against those very buildings at the waterfront. Do you know what John Compton did? Let's just talk about John Compton for a minute and I'll take you back to Mr. Shastney. I'll show you some similarities, some things that you must never miss in a good leader. Never miss. I'm not saying a perfect leader. I said a good leader. Because I will never call any politician a perfect politician or a perfect leader. I will never do that because I know better. Why? All of them are human and are subject to error. The problem is when you err, whether you are willing to correct or be corrected by the people. Some politicians got to be corrected by the people at the ballot box. And some correct themselves when these errors are brought to their attention. But let's go back. And by the way, politicians are arrogant people. That's a fact. Good? They have egos. Let's look at development in John Compton, right? Let's talk. Now, John Compton saw the need to build schools. He saw the need for clean water. He saw the need for the Pigeon Island to backing up the land there so that we can get maximum use of the area. The backing up of the Castries basin. Let's look at the water situation with John Compton. You know, I was reading something from the Honorable Sir John Compton. And let me tell you what I saw. I saw a prime minister at the time that was very concerned about the citizens of St. Lucia. We had a problem with waterborne disease. None of you would remember that because some of you don't really read history. So you're always forgetting. But these are things that you cannot forget as a nation. These are events and leaders that you must never forget. And you must give respect where respect is due. And the Honorable Sir John Compton was one of those visionary leaders that you cannot close your eyes on. You cannot get away from the fact that he was the father of the nation. He built St. Lucia on the United Workers' Party. You can't get away from that. No, you can't. So, Mr. John Compton came under heavy fire. They threw caca on him, took away his parking spot, called him all sorts of names. He was humiliated. They tried a lot of stuff on the Honorable John Compton. Oh, yes, they did. Serious opposition. Instead of looking at the vision for the nation, joining hands in nation building, what they did, the SLP, was they were what we call in organizations stumbling blocks and blockers, blocking the hand of progress. And so John Compton, driving through Dennery, saw the valley, and Dennery saw children being carried in small coffins to be buried in the cemetery at Dennery. Children who had died from drinking bad water. And John Compton could not. And by the way, it happened every day. The man is traveling back to Miku. There is a family carrying their loved one, their child, to be buried because of water issue. And so John Compton petitioned outside governments, petitioned the outside world, and got a proper water system. You remember you had all those standpipes around the place? Got a proper water system, a proper water treatment in place so that he could have saved our future generation. He could have saved our children. It was John Compton who did that. Hi, Cooley James. You come to give trouble tonight again? Good night, my friend. Yes. It was John Compton's vision. He was treated like a dog. He was criticized. These guys tried to block him at every turn. And not only the SLP were blocking the man, later down, hi my friend Naima, later down, in his last years, at the age of 80, you had UWP politicians, and thank God that they are no more United Workers' Party. Same with the United Workers' Party, not just TA, no, you are the toot bag guy UWP. Where? We had D, fascist is lovely. We keep met so also. Tia Noyo. At 80, they realized that John Compton would not be able to go any further. Those guys were busy fighting for position, fighting to be the supreme leader of the United States. Imagine John Compton, the father of the nation, came out of retirement to save the United Workers' Party. Because, you see, I'm just reading into what I am seeing. And bear with me if I speculate and I'm wrong. You got to correct me, those of you who are older than me. It seems to me that there were some people within the party, politicians, who were fighting not only John Compton, but they were fighting anyone that they thought was next in line to take over from the Honorable John Compton. I'm not going to be harsh to say they wish he was dead. I would not say that. But they were yearning, they were fighting, they were back and forth, row, for the supreme leadership of the United Workers' Party. In disrespect to John Compton, not realizing that they are fighting now because it was the Honorable John Compton who came back from retirement to save them from the embarrassment of blows from the SLP. And by the way, don't underestimate SLP. When you see the SLP giving UWP blows, it's real blows they're giving us. Party blows. Why? Because we have always had men on the inside of the United Workers' Party who have always been power hungry and would have done anything to secure that power. Now tell me I am wrong. So, here what I did. You have them fighting, the SLP fighting John Compton, and you had those on the inside fighting him for power. Guess what? Those same hooligans are together with the same SLP who fought John Compton. The same leaders who were fighting for power in the UWP, they are with those who were fighting John Compton. Now, I'm just looking in. I don't know nothing. You're going to tell me if I'm making sense or if I am not making sense. I have wisdom and insight. So, not just gari bagay, not just disamovely. So, say, Zokinipo organize me. Ek waje sovel me because not the nipot bagay right now. But tell me I'm wrong. Or tell me I'm right. So while we have the fighting on the outside, we have the fighting on the inside for political power. Why? Because I'll tell you what I observed. Richard and King always wanted to be the supreme leader of the United Workers' Party. It's Sanawe, and I'll tell you why. Because when you look at these two men, they are the most if this is a word, let's create a word tonight. They are the most bitterest individuals against the Honorable Chastney. Listen to me. I am a spiritual man. Let me speak. But I will accept correction. So I am just speaking as a guy, young guy growing up, observing, watching what is going on, reading a little history there and there between yesterday, the day before, going deeper and just looking and reading up things that was written by outside observers. Not the depressed that you have in St. Lucia. No, observers who observed from afar. Didn't want to have anything to do with the nastiness. And so let's look at Steve King and Fritchett as workers. Alan Chastney beat. There's a lot of other names, I'll mention because I'm very observant. King got a beating from Chastney for leadership. Chastney prevailed. King. Sorry, not King. It's King, Stephen, and King. One is one moon. He got my top. That's why I can't figure out whether he's 2 or 1. But annually. Richard. His ultimate aim was to be Prime Minister of St. Lucia. None of you can tell me otherwise. The man had Prime Minister potential. Tonight, we're going to make some serious words. I'm telling you, watch this space. And I know what I'm saying. I'm talking about the progress and development of a nation. These men, while Mr. John Compton was focused on nation building, and not only nation building, Mr. John Compton had loved his party with a passion and would have done anything to rescue his party out of turmoil. Stephenson King was the deputy prime minister. Richard Frederick saw King as a weak leader and was hoping that he would have rallied the people of the United Workers' Party to throw King out and to put him in. I said it. Annually. But the people said no. The people said no. No. And Stephenson King has been how he is for a long time. The man brought in more ministers not because there was a lot more work to do, it is because he was incompetent. I said that too. So he brought in more ministers to do the work because he had already determined, I am sure, in his heart that top 12 So that's why the Labour Party at the time in 2009 or 2009, and this is history, they campaigned very fiery against Mr. King, saying that we need to have him to resign because he's incompetent. Those were the words of the Labour Party at the time of the leadership of the Honorable Stephenson King. And these are facts. You can't get away from them. It's the truth. And if you believe that we should be speaking the truth, then you can't get upset. All right? You can't get it right. So, Mr. John Compton came back, rescued the party, and God bless him. the stress I suspect, the stress, the fight for leadership, and we have never ceased from having these stiff political fights. The sad reality, there was another guy I was monitoring, I think his name is Preville. I think he was contending for United Workers' Party leadership too at the time. I believe, not at the time, but recently, a few years ago. And I'm not wrong. I'm sure I'm not wrong with that. I show my memory still on, that I don't need to be at a nursing home right now for memory loss. I'm sure of that, what I'm saying. Guess what? Preville turned against the party and joined the SLP. Tell me that's not true. Every one of those guys who wanted to be the leader of the United Workers' Party, when they failed, they left. When they failed, guess what? They turned bitter against the party. Why? Because they believe that the party owe them something. And I'll tell you, it is okay for them to leave. Because if that's their mentality, that's not the philosophy of the United Workers' Party. The United Workers' Party philosophy is exactly what it says: united and workers. So if Stevenson King was not united and he was not a worker, then he could not have been comfortable in the United Workers' Party. And of course, he would have been upset with any person any United Workers' Party leader who is a worker, because it's not in him, you see. Hello. Now, this is UWP business. So all those of you who have left, ça pas à faire ça. Ça pas rien pour dire. All right? Just coûter. If you all don't agree, just say amen. Amen? Good. But it is true. United. Let's say, for instance, you're fighting, you're contending, and it is the democracy of the party. You are hoping to become the leader of the party. There are 2 or 3 of you fighting for the same position. Man, if the other guy succeed, just embrace him. You are one. Caller, you on the air. Caribbean American News Media.
Good night, Garfield.
Good night, caller.
Listen to you concerning the water and things. I'm a 65-year-old woman.
65?
And 65.
Okay, talk to me.
And I can in my days we used to wash in the river.
Good.
And yeah, and there was that thing you used to get in the river, bilharzia. I don't know if you can remember that.
No, I heard of it. I heard of it.
They had the hospital up the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Up the moon. And they used to go in the schools and you have to test your stool and things like that. That's in the days of John Compton. And that's when they say they have to stop people going in the river.
Mm-hmm.
They start putting stand pipe everywhere. And you know, John, so John had, like you said, was a man with a vision. He was a man with a vision.
Mm-hmm.
So he saw what was happening, and he said he had to get rid of the people going in the river. So he had to put all these turnpikes. And another thing Sir John did, when the Labour Party when Sir John said he was going to build a marina.
Mm-hmm. Where he was building that marina in Grosile?
Grosile.
Oh yes, that's Pigeon Point.
Yeah, the Labour Party, you know what they said? Allah go sal kila. Ki sa mistake isa fela.
No vision.
Allah go sal. No vision. No vision. Allah go sal. And something I want to touch about, I don't know, I'm a Seventh-day Adventist.
Welcome, sister.
I'm not lying. Yeah. And I've been voting for the UWP from the time I was 18.
18, wow. And now you're 65.
and now I'm 65. And the last election, I said I'm not voting. My sister pursued me. We went.
Mm-hmm.
And when we reach, my surname starts with M. Both my sister and I, we start on the line, and they skipping us from side to side. But I say, why? But the M, why they keep on telling us not that until we had to go back the very same line we were. When I reach inside, they fill the paper and give me the paper to go and cast my vote.
Mm-hmm.
I had the paper in my hand and I was as confused as could be. I don't know what to do. That
have never happened to you before.
Never happened to me before. So when I went back to the church, I was telling another sister, sister, that happened to me too.
Wow.
That happened to me. And then I heard you when that priest, Father Francis, that was in Super now, which is in Babono, talking about people coming and tell him what they experienced at the poll, and it was the same thing. Mm-hmm. And when he said there was so much evil and things, they wanted him to apologize to the country.
Yes.
But there was something that was not right. Imagine if people that went and they was not on and not praying, they would have put the vote somewhere else. Another thing I experienced that same day of election, it was like the country was like in they're saying in part a twist. It's sad. The country was looking like solemn, a kind of way, just looking strange, like in the morning. It was just like morning.
Yeah.
You know, these people are threatened by Mr. Shastri. They are threatened by Mr. Shastri. I can see it, and everybody can see it. Because when they had the last convention, Mr. Shastri was re-elected as the leader of the party.
Right.
The Prime Minister stood in the House of Parliament and accused Mr. Shastri of paying the delegates to vote for him.
Oh, yes. Well, most of us remember that. And that has not been dealt with, by the way, as yet.
No. And the Speaker never asked the Prime Minister to apologize. But now he wants Mr. Shastri to apologize. And you see, if people, concerning my age, have realized that Labour Party is the people have done the most. I can remember the year Mr. Julian Hunt was the leader of the Labour Party. And in the House of Parliament, Mr. Julian Hunt, I can't remember what went wrong, but he took a chair and just throw it in the window, break the window in the House of Parliament. And that same year, they had some project going in Mr. Hunt's constituency, Grozile. And when Mr. Compton said, "Today we are here to break ground and not to break glass."
Wait. So it was. Now Anson actually, brother Anson gave me that story. So yes.
And Mr. Hunt ran to rush on him and tell him, I'm going to break glass in the airwood. I will not mention that name.
No, you can say in the donkey. Break glass in the donkey.
And they heard him. I said, look at that. Imagine two men married, two sisters, and because of politics.
Yes. Thanks for reminding me. So they were family.
Yeah, they married two sisters. Yes, and I telling you, the people now can't remember the history of politics. I can remember the history of
those were the glory days.
Because I'm telling you, I can do a lot of things that happened.
Yeah.
You know? And I, like you said, Mr. Compton was a man with a vision. And when I saw Mr. Shastri, I said, yes, that man is a man of vision, and I will support him. I will support him.
Mm-hmm.
But they are threatened by him, but God allowed what happened of the last election for a reason. God allowed things to happen for a reason. So when God puts up and God bring down. So when God's ready to put them down, He will put them down.
In his own, in his time.
All we have to do is continue praying for our country and be focused. Thank you, Mr. Gaffney.
No problem. Thank you for calling. That was a beautiful call. Appreciate that. Oh, yes, that's a beautiful call. So I heard, Anson actually had that conversation. We were talking about politics, and he told me, yes, Hunton and John Compton were going back and forth. And, I think Hunt said to him he will break glass in his donkey. You know what I'm talking about? And John Compton was able to to just take that phrase and just turn it around. But it was not as bitter as what we see it now, and as personal as what we see it now, and that is the truth. But John Compton was a man of vision and had loved this country, while people were saying to him, oh, you're not from this country, you're from St. Vincent, go back to your country, why are you here, go back to your country. But I'll tell you, John Compton was one of the greatest, among the greatest prime ministers in the Caribbean. He was respected. I remember John Compton, Eugenia Charles, and all those other guys. John Compton, the Iron Woman, was Eugenia Charles. She was the Iron Woman. Yes, powerful woman. Yeah. And so, these were the days. These guys would have their discussions, their misunderstanding, but one thing with them, they would still come together. They would still be together. But what we're seeing now, it's a different breed, and it's something that we should not accept in our society. The number is 929-586-1821. I want you to call for us. Let's talk about your experience with whether John Compton, Alan Shashney, what you went through at the polls. Tonight, let's just change the discussion for a while. Just call in, let us know. So there you have the caller, 65, voting from the age of 18 to 65, went to vote and experience what many others, and I heard it before. I heard people saying, boy, I'm confused, Thelma. And maybe for persons who were confused because they were bombarded. They were bombarded by a lot of information in the last leg of the campaign. Can we say that too? A lot of thing. And then remember, you had a lot of people who suffered emotional distress when Stevenson King had abandoned the party at last moment. Remember that. So you had persons experiencing this emotional confusion, this mental confusion, psychological confusion, and they're like going to the polls and trying to figure out, boy, what is happening to the United Workers' Party? Look at all the false information. Well, at that time they were confused. They wasn't sure whether it was false or whether it was real. So you had people who went out with the weight of that campaign that the Labour Party had thrown on them. The Labour Party had thrown a hard campaign at the United Workers' Party, while the United Workers' Party was saying, well, we worked, we did a lot of work, we did a lot of work, our work will speak for us. No, the work did not speak for you. Why? Because at the time, the people, all the good works that were done, remember that at that time, a lot of lives were saved during COVID. COVID was managed in an appropriate way. People had forgotten that. Why? They were bombarded with propaganda. They were confused at the last moment. And then you had Stevenson King coming out and confusing the masses more when he came on that interview and he said, I believe, was it on Timothy's show or one of those shows, and the man said that things are not going good in the United Workers' Party. There is major problems there. Therefore, I am leaving. I am not running. I am running as an independent candidate. They were confused. The people there in Mr. Stevenson King's constituency voted for him as an independent United Workers' Party, not as an independent Labour. Remember that. Remember, he had announced that because I'm telling you, the next election will be a totally different one because now the people understand that Mr. King is an SLP. And that's the truth. The people now understand. There is more clarity now in Mr. King's constituency. So, as I said, the people were confused. They were like, but we voted for King all our life. We know King as a strong United Workers' Party. Something went wrong in the party. Those were the arguments. Those people were out there. And so they went to the vote, the polling station, and they voted just the way they would normally vote. That's what they did. Because the party did not have enough time to do the damage control and all those things. And so that is what happened. So people went out there, and some people believe that it was evil, but I think it was a psychological thing going on for many of them who voted during that elections. Confused, a lot of information being thrown at them. Controversy there. Guy is a volley. Alan Shaston is a white man. He's not good. Stevenson King coming out, putting the icing on the cake. And by the way, that was icing that the SLP had in their pocket for a very long time. Not only this elections, that icing were there. But this time, as I said, it's going to be different because people now understand the game. They understand that, look, a vote for King is a vote for the SLP. So now the vote, it is split in his community. It is split. There's a split now. The line is drawn where people know SLP, UWP. Let's get at it. That is exactly what is going to happen. So, let me tell you, if you put on the whole armor of God, if you're a Christian and you go to vote, no weapon formed against you shall ever prosper. And you better believe that, But there is what you call a psychological effect, and you can run into some issues there if you are not careful, all right? Caribbean American News Network, caller, you're on the air, and all are welcome to call tonight. Go ahead, caller.
Good evening, Brother Garfield. How are you?
Talk to me, my brother. I'm fine. Bless. Thank you for calling.
Good evening to your listeners.
Good evening.
Brother Garfield, I wanna touch on a few things, man.
Take the time, brother. Time is yours.
Looking at the situation in St. Lucia, and you go back in the history of St. Lucia, the Labour Party has always been a disruptive and party, and a party that basically want to keep the people on a level where they ought to control them.
Yeah.
And I will say something here that maybe most people haven't made the connection with.
Talk to me.
We used to have one of the most thriving economy in St. Lucia. And in that industry that brought the economy thriving was banana, right?
Yes.
Now, the banana industry in from 92, 97, who came in and disrupted? It was the Labour Party, because they realized the only way to get to John Compton was to get to him with what he created, what he started, and not realizing when they do that they actually put in the very people. Well, I guess they realize, but they don't care. They will do anything necessary just to, by any means, to get into power. That's all they care about. So what did Kenny do? They made deals out there. Mr. Pat Joseph, after winning the election in 97, who was in charge of the banana? Pat Joseph.
Yeah.
after he was the one leading the strike. I don't know if you recall the strike.
Yes, I was in St. Lucia. Yes, Coupe.
The gentleman would cut harvest this week, and next week the strike would be in effect. And they have been fooling the people of St. Lucia ever since.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And the very same man that was orchestrating those strikes is the man that was in charge of SLBC. I think they gave the name. It was SLBGA, and then they changed it after it got privatized.
SLBGA.
It was SLBC.
Yeah. SLBC, yeah.
So what happened? The banana went under.
Mm-hmm.
By whom? Kenny Anthony. What happened next? Who built the prison?
I believe Kenny Anthony.
Who? It was Kenny Anthony.
Yeah.
Because crime started manifesting heavily on the Kenny Anthony administration.
Mm-hmm.
Now, people may say, how did guy say that? But it's the truth. The evidence was there. Brother man, the St. Lucia didn't have much murders. You know, the people that were getting arrested, Brother Garfield, if you recall, it was most people were being arrested because of marijuana. We all know that.
Yeah, it was marijuana.
You understand?
Not even guns. Not even guns, really. Yeah.
Exactly. You know, we pretending like we forget what was happening before. You know, these men, they're basically bringing down the country piece by piece, and they're attacking the thing that they know that is going to bring the people in a better position. Mm-hmm. That's what they're doing. And I will tell you why.
Talk to me.
What is wealth in a country? Not health?
Yep.
All right. What did they attack as soon as they come into office this time around? Health.
Yep.
You know, you will laugh, but it's the truth.
No,
brother.
it's the truth. It's the truth.
See,
yep. Because
you see, these men, they strategize, and they look at what the people are basically ignorant of. Now, I'm not saying everybody in St. Lucia is ignorant, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I got you.
That is not what I'm here to say.
I got you.
They will thrive on that. They will put up some slogan, and if they see it stick, the people go with it. Then they keep saying it, even if they know it's not true. You remember that thing? Horses before hospital. You remember that?
That's right. I remember that.
And the guys that claim that they cared so much about the health and safety and security of the people are the very ones who will come to destroy it. Because I just made the analogy earlier. I gave you the example.
Mm-hmm.
The very same guys that claim to care about the banana industry, that they would tell the farmers, they didn't literally tell them to go and burn farms and burn sheds. But when you create the environment, right, you don't have to instruct them to do it. They will do it.
But caller, maybe I can correct you a little there, because my stepfather had a very large farm in Dennery. And I remember that his shed was burned down to the ground. His bananas were cut. They chopped down the trees and everything else. So we suffered during that strike. And I would say to you that these guys got their marching orders from the top. They got their marching orders from the top.
I put it that way, Garfield.
I know,
because I didn't hear them say it directly.
Right, but
I'm saying if you create the environment, that's what you will get, and they know that, and that's what manifests when they create that environment.
Yeah.
The guys start burning sheds, they start cutting down plantations, not realizing that they actually destroying the very thing that is feeding the kids and keeping that country alive.
That was stupid, my friend. That was stupid.
So you see what I mean when I say people, they're ignorant. I don't mean all of them.
But it is, brother, let's call it what it is. It's ignorance. It is ignorance.
It is ignorant. It is. To the highest level.
Why are you cutting another farmer's field, burning another farmer's shed because you vex about the banana situation? So you go and you burn your own. It was more political than anything else.
Thank you.
And by
to
the way,
realize
the fields
Kenny
that were
Anthony
being
never apologized for that thing.
but brother, the sheds that was being burned were sheds that were owned by United Workers Party supporters, known United Workers Party supporters, because my stepfather was a known United Workers Party supporter.
So we have to, you see, they tell you these things are the past. But you see, when you look at the past, we're supposed to use it to mold us to become better.
That's right.
As a society.
That's
you
right.
understand?
That's right.
And I believe St. Lucia is running backwards instead of moving forward. Yeah. And I have mentioned a few things for you. Now that Philip J. Pierre has taken a page from Kenny D. Anthony playbook, he's now taking us back to the same old days of Kenny Anthony. It's just in a different era.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, that hospital situation, the old hospital that was infested with mold, we all saw the videos on Facebook that they were using those mitigate, those guys that clean, what I forget their names, you know. They clean all the molds in there and stuff like that. But anyways, my brother, if we have a passport office that has been closed for so many months, or maybe almost a year now, because of mold, right? You cannot control it.
No.
Now, we are hearing from the mouth of the housing minister that they purchased an old building, and we all know the building. I don't know if you know the building, but I know the building.
No, I don't know.
That's a very old building that they bought. And they're going to renovate that building for them to house the office of the housing. I think it's housing ministry. But let me tell you.
Talk to me.
How many of them have taken all of these things that I've just mentioned about the mold situation into consideration? That when you go back to an older building, you have to realize what you're doing.
True.
Because you will have those very same problems again. And when these problems arise, you will close down the office again.
Caller, we are not building. Caller, we are not building for the future. We are building for yesterday. We are not building.
That's what I said.
Yes.
We're going backwards.
Backwards, yeah.
We are going backwards, my brother. Now, if the present government were to come and they say, okay, Shashney started that building, maybe we can better it. So Shashne, you did this, that wasn't up to that standard. We can make it better than that and continue working and making it better for the people. I wouldn't have any problem, you know.
And that's what we expect. That's what we expect. That if you see that there's a defect or something, that you would say, okay, let's try to fix it to better it. And on both sides, UWP and SLP. If we will continue to face these financial challenges in St. Lucia, if we do not change the way we do politics, we got to change. You will have a lot of failed projects in the country. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah. So, Brother Garfield, when you analyze all what we're talking about, it shows you how much we keep putting those guys in there to not work in our interest or the interest of the country. These guys keep coming in there with their own agendas. Because before they get into office, Brother Garfield, they already make all kind of backdoor deals that they have to fulfill when they get elected.
That's the nature. That's the nature of the beast. You know, both parties got to deal privately in order to get the support, and sometimes you, the simple man who just listen to their presentation on a pulpit or platform, you vote based on what you hear, but you can't vote on what you have not seen that's happening behind the scenes. So all these bad deals and bad arrangements and promises that was made to businessmen and to cousin and uncle, you the people suffer at the end. Now
hear what I'm saying. I am not against the guys making deals or taking donations out there, because politics all over the world, that's how it's run. My point is, if you know that you, Brother Garfield, you're not capable in doing or taking on certain projects, why give you the project and then you have to pass it on to someone else, knowing very well that you're not capable in doing that project. You understand?
But brother, that's why the Labour Party back in the days were known as cost overrun, you know.
That's where it started again, Kennedy. And
yeah, every project under this man was cost overrun. Every project.
You know. We have to face the truth of the truth that is the fact that this government, this present government, is not working in the interest of this country, brother. They're not.
But how would you say that, caller, when the government just approved no VAT on plywood, cement, and steel?
Okay. And I can answer that very, very easily for you.
Talk to me.
As much as some people might think that this is a good thing, I will tell you what will happen. Okay?
Yeah.
This initiative by the government, it is very welcome by those businesses like Caribbean Metals.
Yeah.
It is very welcome by Reno Kajaja, the construction company. It is very welcome by guys that are builders, that are building houses and stuff like that. I would say maybe like Richard Frederick himself that tend to build and sell homes. You know, but that is not for a poor person, brother. Because think of it, a poor person is not in the position to build a home.
Yeah.
Before they passed that legislation, they know they were not in the position to build a home. When you look at everywhere in the world, why do you think those bigger countries tend to build housing for the less fortunate? Because they know the benchmark of buying a house is way out of their reach.
Yeah.
They know that.
Yes, it is.
You understand?
It is.
So even if they were to put the materials, no taxes on the material, it is still not for the poor, brother. It is not. You see, we have a mentality in St. Lucia that when we live all our life, and when we're 60 years, that's when we start thinking that, you know what we didn't get when we were 30, we'll get it now. Not realizing that we have started a family and life has moved on and the time has changed, that this is the time that we look at life differently in terms of our future generation. Most people in St. Lucia are looking for their pocket, what I can get now, not realizing that we also have a future to secure for St. Lucia.
Yep.
Brother Gaffel, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, caller. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And folks, please call at 929-586-1821. I believe we have unconfirmed breaking news. It is not confirmed as yet. It just flashed across our notification news bar that Winston Springer is dead. It is not confirmed as yet, and so we are waiting that confirmation from our sources. But it is reported that Winston Springer is dead. We will confirm that later on, and we will get back to you. Let's get back to business now, folks. Let's get back to our callers. It is 929-586-1821. 929-586-1821. And I remember the banana strike. I think it was not in the interest of anybody. It was not in the interest of anybody. And that's what happens when we get so political that we want to burn everything down. We want to turn Castries into Plywood City. We want to shut down everything. We want to march during COVID-19. We want to disrupt the order of business, and that's what happens, my friends. That is what happens when we are so political and we do not put the people first. Because if you put the people first, you will not set them up to burn their own brother's shed or block it. Well, sometimes you have protests that are not peaceful, but you will not ask people to be disruptive and disorderly and violate every order, every law. For instance, we saw during COVID, we saw laws being implemented, put in place to protect the citizens of St. Lucia. We had a Labour Party saying to the people, no, nothing to see here. Go out and do what you all want. They're taking away our freedom. They're taking away our rights. He's a white man, and the white man have his foot on our neck, so they're taking away our freedom. And that was déclassé, I find. Déclassé and out of order. And ignorant, downright ignorant. Here is a sickness that you know nothing about. Nobody knows nothing about. The World Health Organization, they're struggling to get information to developing countries. And here you have a government struggling, trying to keep the ship together, trying to save lives. And because you're accustomed of being destructive, when we go back into the history of St. Lucia, because you are known to be disruptive, here we go again. Nothing new. Protests, strike. You know what we saw? The death of a number of persons who should have still been alive today. The virus starts spreading like wildfire. And if we would think about the people, do you know what we'll do? We'll protect them. We'll say to them, hold off. Closer to the election, we will have the opportunity to come out. But right now, there is a disease out there. There's a virus that is destroying our country. Y'all lie low. Lie low. Let's support the government in putting something together. Let's support the government in securing and protecting the citizens of the country. But we double down on politics. And by the way, I have some documents on the that Peter discussion. Not telling the truth again. Disruptive. Trying to pin every bad deal that they were involved in. Because if you go deeper in the agreement, you would realize that these guys had their fingerprints on the documents. Their fingerprints are there. Half of the deals that they're criticizing, their fingerprints are on it. But they know some of you don't reason for yourselves. You don't think for yourself. So guess what? They throw all kind of thing at you, hoping that it will stick. For instance, look at what they did to Guy Joseph. He has a preschool, he and his wife, and blah, blah, blah. Poor Guy Joseph keeps saying, I don't have no preschool with my wife. We don't know what you guys are talking about. They kept bullying and pushing. The man said, that's not true, guys. Some of you, UWP, started believing it. Guess what? NBC, Miguel, they got to pay for their mouth. They got to pay. Now the question is, why these guys were saying what they were saying? Not having any evidence. No facts. Just like regular St. Lucians, you just hear something, you hear a rumor, you start picking it up and you run with it. Some of you will start paying for your mouth. And you should. Yes, it's true, Cooley. They have their feet, not their hands. All right? So, let's go to Chastney, right? We were talking about Mr. Chastney. We just stop a moment and to take some calls, but the phone lines are open, 929-586-1821. So John Compton was a visionary leader. Stevenson King was not a visionary leader. The Labour Party confirmed that he was not. I don't know about Richard Frederick. I really don't know. All I see is that he's very thin-skinned and he cannot take blows. He like to give out. And we saw it by the Peter during COVID. Went and bully his way. And you had television stations standing there in support, and the supporters pushed the people fence on their private land. Caribbean American News Media, calling you on the air.
Good evening, Brother Gaffin. How you doing?
Not bad at all, man. Thanks for calling. Caribbean American News.
Yes, Brother Garfield. I just want to just to stay a good program as usual. You're on point. But I just need to again. I'm forced. I'm compelled to clear the air because you see, we need to elevate the politics. I mean, it's one thing to support your political party, but it's another thing to stoop low to the lowest common denominator.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we saw this I saw again this morning with those two individuals on NBC, a so-called morning show. What transpired or what happened this morning, you cannot get it any, you cannot experience or witness it any lower than this.
So wait, what are you talking about? This morning's repeat. I just missed that. What happened
This morning show, the famous NBC show, every morning, those two guys who méprisent people, who lie, who tell lies on people, who defame people's character. You know them.
Yes.
You have been on the attack by them and other people, and including yours truly.
Yeah.
But it got to the point, it got to so low and gutter that the guys contacted my father. Could you believe that?
Wait. They called your father.
Yes, and have him call the show to say the untruth about me, that he gave me money and all this thing, and I forget I have a father in St. Lucia and all this. I want to set the record straight. I mean, God say honor your mother and your father, that your days might be long. And I don't want to say anything that will come across that I'm disrespecting my father.
Speak the truth.
I have to be truthful, brother. And the truth is, my father never played an integral role in my life. He's never maintained me. He never fed me. The responsibility was my mother as a single mom and my deceased grandmother who raised us and who took care of us and provided for my financial needs and my emotional needs, etc. My father never played any significant role in my life. And it has been bothering me as a child. I grew up to become an adult. And I said to myself, when I do have kids, which I do have, I do not want to be I do not want to emulate my father when it comes to playing a father role in the life of my kids. So that's one. Number two, I never reach out to my father for any financial support. So if I do, what's wrong with that? But I'm just setting the record straight. That I never reach out to my father. From the time I've been in the US, I've never said to my father, look, I need any financial help.
So let me ask you, how did your father get involved with NBC? How did we get here?
Because my father was contacted by one of the hosts on NBC. Because you see, the modus operandi or the objective is the attempt to try to embarrass me to score political points. They think when they do that, it will deter me or prevent me from speaking my mind on whatever political issues or issues affecting St. Lucia. So they have gone to now my family, which is my father, getting the whole thing and calling the show this morning and saying these things, which, by the way, I could boldly say is untrue. But that shows you the level of the type of politics that agents of the St. Lucia Labour Party would go, how low they would go in an effort to defame your character. I said I want to set the record straight, Brother Garfield, again, that number one, I've never reached out to my father for any financial help. Never did. As for my recollection, my father has never given me much as a pen. I went to school, I went to secondary school, I furthered my education. My father never played any role in that. It's my mother and my deceased grandmother. He has never been in my life as a father to say, okay, I could proudly say to any person that, okay, my father has been in my life. So I found it very strange that he will call, it was well orchestrated that he will call the talk show and make those kinds of statements. My family has been affected about it. My mother is upset about the whole situation. But that tells you how low the politics has gotten to in St. Lucia.
No, it shows you how low. It shows you how low NBC operates, because if NBC is a licensed station in St. Lucia, the manager, the owner of that station, need to be held accountable for what comes out of that station. And I would say to him, the Mr. Owner, that your days are numbered. If you cannot control your men and ask them to stay on the issues, this kind of politics that they're playing at that radio station, your days are numbered. 5 years is not 5 years is not as long as you guys think it is.
And that is so correct. And you see, I'm compelled again to call your show, and thank you again for giving me the opportunity, because persons will hear these things and they want to believe what they hear. My half brother, who is my same father with me, different mother, he was upset about the whole situation, and he said if he has to stand up and speak, he will speak that our father never played a role in our lives. So I want to set the record straight here, and this is why NBC and this particular show, Zafe Nu, I'll call it out as it is despicable. Those two individuals go there, they do not speak about the issues. We have issues with healthcare. People go into the hospitals, cannot get medication. They go to the health centers, cannot get medication. Basic things like a Panadol, you cannot even get at the hospital. You have a situation, the crime situation is terrible. Over the weekend, we saw two homicides, double homicides. The government doesn't have a clue of how to tackle the crime situation. We have an issue with inflation. We have an issue with cost of living. People are struggling to make ends meet. These are the things those two individuals should go on NBC and this I call it Zafe Zordi show, and speak about, rather than go personally with people because they express their political view and they challenging your government to be accountable to the people. They want to go low. There's a saying that goes like this, Brother Garfield: when they go low, you go high. I could go after those individuals personally, but I will not do that. I will take the higher ground, the moral higher ground. But I just want to say this. This is how low our politics have gotten to. And we have to call it out as we see it. And we have to speak out. And we should not be intimidated when we experience those personal attacks. Because that's the whole tactic. They will go after you personally to deter you.
Ian, I can tell you that your father has a big problem, because if your father didn't take care of you when you were young, but he's on a television station joining with persons who are trying to insult you, then your father reminds me of a lot of other St. Lucian men who don't care a hoot about their children. Your own blood. I would have even though I didn't take care of you, Brother Ian, and I was your father, I would get off of that call. I would not push it any further. I would say to them, this is my son, and I am not going to have this. So there's a lot of other men like that out there in our society. And sorry to say that some of our sisters have allowed them to just impregnate them and move on. They don't pay nothing. They don't support their kids. And there are a lot of them who are on the air over there who will pay in time. Believe it or not, Ian, I'm telling you, you just watch this space. They will pay. They need to stop. They need to repent. They need to stop. If you're discuss issues. Don't pull people, uncle, their father, their mother, their children, and they even go after your dead relatives.
Exactly. And then you know what started this whole situation? Those two individuals, they after Alan Chastney. And because people defending Alan Chastney, it was even said last week that one of those hosts said that anytime Alan Chastney is entering the Parliament of St. Lucia, he personally will stop Alan Chastney from entering the Parliament of St. Lucia.
Well, the guy's just let me say, I've seen those aggressive guys already. Listen, these
who gave this individual so much authority and power to prevent Alan Chastney from entering the Parliament of St. Lucia?
Brother, the man, listen to me. The man is just beating his mouth. That's impossible.
But I would be bold enough to say that those two individuals, they have the backing of the sitting government ministers. So they figure, okay, the government is in office. They have the backing of certain government ministers. So they can say what they want, do what they want.
Freedom of speech.
I want to tell those two individuals that St. Lucia does not belong to any political party. St. Lucia does not belong to the Labour Party. St. Lucia belongs to each and every one of us. And everybody has a constitutional democratic right to speak out when they see wrongdoing. We have to call it out as it is. We have a situation with the Banans land yet to be resolved. We do not. Every day we're learning more about this Banan land. Where is the accountability? Where is the accountability by this government and the Minister of Housing? These are the things those two individuals should profit the opportunity when they come on the money to educate solutions on. But no, because you're opposing this government, they'll go after you personally. And to the extent now, they're going after your family. I want to say to those two individuals that no matter what you do, no matter what you say about me, which are untrue, which are lies, I will continue to speak out. I'll continue to call it out as it is, and to say to St. Lucia, our country is in trouble. We all, whether you UWP, no peace, the situation in St. Lucia is messy. It's in a mess. Everything is in total disarray, and we have to come together as citizens, concerned citizens, and rescue our country. Brother Garfield, keep doing what you're doing. Keep the focus. Good program as usual, and I'll end it right there. Have a blessed night.
Thank you, my brother. Stay strong. And folks, just bear with me. Okay, thank you, Ian. And you see, that's what we've been talking about. This type of nasty rhetoric in our society. Caller, you're on the air. Caribbean American News Media.
Yes, Brother Garfield, good night.
Good night, sir.
Yes, Brother Garfield, I am giving you something that happened today, and I would just like you to know and the whole world to know what took place.
Talk to me. The line is yours.
It happened in my community.
Mm-hmm. Talk to me.
The Speaker of the House was invited today at the Mikud Primary School to read for the children because they consider this month is reading month. Listen to me, Gavin. After he was there talking to the children, after he talked, they were asking him questions. And Gavin, it is not a lie. Mm-hmm. He told the children that he, as the Speaker of the House, have the full right and the power to ask the policeman to arrest Chastney at any time he wants.
And how can we confirm that?
Gassel, I confirm that because when that came out, I asked the school children because I have my nephews, my nieces that's going there. Yeah. I asked them and I asked all the children and the same, all of them told me, yes, the speaker said that for true.
That he has the power to arrest Mr. Chastney at any time.
He has the power to ask the policeman to arrest Chastney at any time he wants.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. That is something.
And Gaffel,
yes, sir.
You can do your own checkup. This happened today at the Mikud Primary School.
Okay, good. I wrote it down. Okay.
Yeah, you can. And I'm standing to my ground because Gavin, a whole school would not lie on a man.
And that happened today.
It happened today because a whole school would not lie on a man because some of the children did not even know who was the speaker because they introduced him as Claudius Francis, as Claudius. But when they introduced him as Speaker of the House, then the children realized it was this man is the Speaker of the House. And he said it bold and bold.
Well, guess what? He will have to answer to holding the man hostage some time ago. Don't worry with him.
Yes.
And I'll tell you something, sir. All of these guys have their day and their time, believe it or not. We are mortal beings, and for these guys to be acting so powerful like they're God Almighty, I can tell you, God have a way of settling us in the dust. So I would ask them to humble themselves humble themselves and understand, oh, wretched man, who you are. All right. So for you to be going to a school, if that's the case, and you're boasting about powers that you have, that's all I hear about these. That's all I hear from these guys, boasting about powers, what powers they have in authority.
Yes, I mean, there's so many things to be said. Like, I mean, you're invited to a school to talk. It is reading month. There are so many things. You mixing, trying to mix politics into that, reaching as far as telling the children that. So what are you putting in the children's mind right now? I mean, 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old. What is going on? Anyway, Gavin.
Thank you for calling. That's disgusting. Sorry. Thank you.
Yes.
So there you have a caller from Miku, and the Speaker of the House, he's confirming, went over to Miku to let the children know he has powers. He's a Superman. But you ask Miguel Favre and NBC how Superman they are. So everything have their days. Every man have their day. So enjoy your superhero time, sir. Enjoy your superhero time. It is short, but enjoy yourself. You're entitled to boast about powers you don't have. You boast. Just now you'll be a dentist. Who tut bagay? Who police? Who lawyer? Who judge? Who tut bagay, brother? Who tut bagay? Ta look how fair doctor, dentist, tut bagay. My ma'am, why me? Anyway, folks, we have confirmation. We have confirmation. We have confirmation that Mr. I believe it's Winston Springer Sr. It is confirmed that he passed. It is confirmed that Winston Springer Sr. has passed. On behalf of Caribbean American News Media, our sincere condolences to the family of Mr. Springer. Condolences to their family of the Springers. All right, so let's get back to work, folks. And just like I just reminded you, folks, we are mortal beings. All of us can cuss Mr. Shastney how we want. We can boast about political power. But, O wretched man, know thyself, and know that we will be settled in the dust, that we are but clay and fragile, very fragile. Yeah, a little cold wind get us sick. Yeah, man. Start sneezing. Choop, choop, choops. You lose all your front teeth and you can't eat properly. Yeah? Start losing your hair. Losing your vision. Oh, wretched man, know thyself. Yeah? You all powerful, I say to you. You go and ask Nebuchadnezzar how powerful he is. Go try asking him. Go and ask Samson and all those fellas. Go and ask all these Hitler and all these guys who thought they were bullies. You go ask them how powerful they are. And I will tell you that they are settled in the dust of history. O wretched man, know thyself. So I am not fearful for any boasters out there. But the whole idea of a radio station or television station calling somebody's family to get mapui on them. Why can't you discuss issues? There is no trade unionists in St. Lucia anymore because they're political hacks. So everything can go haywire. There is no watchdog agencies to watch over the rising food prices. And by the way, there is absolutely no reason for some of the prices that we are seeing in our supermarkets to be where it is. You can tell me about war in the Gulf. You can tell me about the United States depression. You can tell me about oil prices. I don't care what you say. Some of the food prices that are at your supermarket are ridiculous. But nobody speaks up. Civil society has gone mad. From the time the SLP got into power, all watchdog organizations have been settled. You have no more National Trust. It's an arm of the St. Lucia Labour Party. The medical and Dental Association, upatan anye. Not a word about St. Jude's. Not a word about the lack of medication and the lack of blood bags in our hospitals, the lack of medication, the lack of paper towels, the lack of toilet paper, the lack of everything. Nobody says nothing. Guess who suffers? You, the citizens. You, the citizens, suffer. Why? Because some of them have been paid off. They got their big job somewhere. There's one that used to be happen on every radio station. I heard he's in Martinique now in some position. I heard they sent one down there to Martinique. He couldn't speak English. He couldn't speak Creole. via MBC. Who suffers? You, the citizens. You, the people, suffer. You are the sufferers. Who suffer at the supermarket? Not the bourgeois, not the doctors, not Mr. King. You, the little man, suffer. Can you not open your eyes and see? Brothers and sisters, open your eyes and see what I'm saying to you. Them fellas don't care a hoot about you. Bunch of smocks. They don't care about you. You have no protection on the job anymore. Why? Because the trade unionists, the SLP, an arm of the SLP, you have no watchdog. You have nobody to stand on your behalf. Wasco can bleed you to death. Lucilec can kill you with electricity. Digicel and Lime, they can take all your money and give you crappy service. Nobody stands out for you. When would you get it in your heads, St. Lucians, that there is nobody looking out for you? You hear about plywood. My question is, how many poor families can afford food? Far less plywood. And if we're going to be talking about the different classes of people, take a look at the poorer people. Take a look at those poor people who cannot afford the basic food items. Think about them. What plywood is going to do for them? That's the question. So here's the logics. They cannot buy food. They cannot buy carnation. They cannot buy a 10 pound of chicken back every week. But they can buy plywood to build a house. Now, this is strategic, I can tell you. It is to malmene your cervelle, to make you feel like they're giving you something, but to camouflage the idea that you are going to pay 2.5% tax increase. It is a tax increase on you, the citizens. So they block you all face with plywood, and they throw a 2.5% in your pocket. So while you're carrying plywood, you have 2.5% tax coming out your pocket. Oh man, why don't you open your eyes and see what I'm saying to you? Careless. Non-caring. No organization is speaking up. I'm listening to all the news. Not one. Food prices, every time you go to the supermarket, every week it's a different price. The roads are a mess. Nobody is talking. The minibus drivers, not a word. Taxi drivers, not a word. The fishermen, not a word. The farmers, not a word. Nobody is talking. The teachers, they're quiet like moo pills. Take them. Nothing. Society has become mad. They are accepting everything that on the United Workers' Party they would have protested against. Society have lost their marbles, have lost their bearing. What you plant is what you will reap. Sazor sow, c'est Sazor reap. Moi-même, why me? My caller, you're on the air. You sound like the last caller. Why? Caller, go ahead.
I'm lucky. I'm blessed, I should say. Not lucky, I'm blessed.
Yeah, blessed.
Good night, Brother Garfield, and good night to all in the forum tonight. I hope everybody's doing good and you're having a wonderful week.
Oh yeah, we have it.
Brother Garfield, I'm not gonna be too long. Ian, I apologize for what they are doing to you. It is again a form of bullying.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Right. So they're setting the example for our kids, one. Mm-hmm. Two, Brother Garfield, you know we're talking about this plywood incentives,
yeah.
Right? We live, first of all, let me say that Kenny Anthony, when he was last in government, when he brought in the 15% VAT, one of the incentives was to take VAT off building materials to enable people to build houses.
That's
However, very few houses were built in St. Lucia because things were so expensive at that point in time that St. Lucians couldn't afford to build those houses. This, Philip J. Pierre has learned very well from his higher up, from Kenny Anthony, because he's doing the exact same thing. He's pulling the same stunts. He's increasing taxes on us. Kenny Anthony did the same thing. He gave us a 15% VAT. Not 10%, not 12%, 15% one time.
Yeah.
Everything, Kenny Anthony was a taxing government. They run the country on tax from the poor taxpayers of the same country. Philip J. Pierre is doing the exact same thing. We had a budget last year. Can anybody say what they have seen delivered out of that budget? That monies was put in, monies was budgeted for certain incentives, etc., that were or projects or whatever was supposed to happen. What have we seen happen from that budget? Can anybody say? If anybody can, put it on Facebook, please, so at least I can see and read. The next thing is, why would Philip J. Pierre be pushing plywood houses when we live in a hurricane belt? St. Lucia is in a hurricane, not just St. Lucia, the whole of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Right? Every year we have a hurricane season. If you're going to build houses to restrain hurricanes, it has to either be steel frame houses or concrete houses.
Yeah.
Am I correct or am I wrong, Brother Gaffney?
Yes, you're right.
Okay, you've got to come up with a new style of building houses so we can, like they say, meet climate change. Why would you want to put people back into plywood houses again to keep creating poverty in the country so they can hand out to people $2 today, $1 tomorrow, $1 next month to people personally to secure votes? Right? This mentality, Alan Shastney was trying to change that. Give people sustainable jobs, create jobs for people, empower them, let them build their own house, whatever style of house they choose to build. But don't come imposing taxes on us and telling us you're giving us plywood. Brother Garfield, who's crazy now to go and build plywood houses? You're not giving us Green Heart. You're not giving us, I think it's Wallaba or something they call it. You're not giving us any hardwood, You're literally giving us plywood to build houses in the hurricane season. This again is the Duvalier government, back to front. No standards, absolutely no standards.
Yep.
Everything they're doing is back to front. St. Lucians, pay attention to this thing. Pay attention to this thing because they are creating poverty in this country for a reason. Communist countries, dictatorships, that's how. That is how they create they create poverty to keep the people at bay. Okay? So watch that space, St. Lucians. We're losing our democracy and we're letting them do it to us. We need to stand up.
Yeah.
We need to stand up. We need to hear our footsteps, our
That's right.
marches.
Yep.
We have to march and let them hear our feet on the ground. They just have to hear like it's an army of people coming.
Mm-hmm.
Shake Castries if we have to, but we can no longer sit there and give this government any more time to take advantage of us. Enough is enough.
Mm-hmm. Yep. 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 Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Yep. Enough is enough. And
now, people, we need to do something about the 2.5% increased tax, whatever they're putting on us. We do not want to pay this. We cannot afford to do it. So, I am asking people to look out for a petition that will be on the internet,
yep.
on Facebook. Please sign the petition.
Yep.
Please sign the petition. You're not putting yourself in trouble. You're standing up for what you believe in. You're saving yourself paying more monies for stuff in St. Lucia that is already overcharged.
Yep.
It's overcosted. The cost is too high.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
And when the House convenes, we are going to show Claudius Francis, Flabo people, St. Lucians, SLPs alike, no Ps. Get your boots ready because we are going to show Claudius Francis that he cannot arrest people as and when he pleases.
Yep. Yep.
It does not work. We are living in a democracy, in a democratic state. We are not in a dictatorship, nor are we in a communist state. Watch how they refer to each other. Comrades. How do they refer to Pierre? 6-star general. Only in communist countries and dictatorships they refer to leaders as general. Or they call the MPs comrade or comrade.
Comrade, yeah.
Only in dictatorships and communist countries. That sort of rhetoric, that kind of language needs to stop in St. Lucia. We have a prime minister and we have MPs. We don't have a general and we do not have comrades. St. Lucians, I'm calling on you again. I'm calling again that we need to get our boots together. Put them together. Don't put them the wrong way. Put them left and right. In the right feet. And we are going to march on that day when Alan Shaftney, our visionary leader, who was taking St. Lucia out of poverty and St. Lucians out of poverty, creating jobs for us and giving us a new life. When he is going back to that house, when it reconvenes, we've got to show our support. We have got to show that government that we do not want them anymore, that we are throwing support behind a visionary leader and a party that has taken St. Lucians out of poverty in the past and will take St. Lucians out of poverty again. Only this time, that forefinger must get stained at the ballot box.
Yes.
We all must vote as well. And that's coming.
Yep.
On that note, Brother Garfield, I want to say good night. I'm not going to stay too long. There are lots more problems, but I just wanted to remind St. Lucians of the last time there was an incentive that was given by Kenny Anthony for building houses, and why the incentive was given to us. It was because of 15% VAT. It was the increase in licensing, increase in the water bills, increase in electricity. We had increases in everything in this country. Don't forget that.
Yep. And I mean, St. Lucia will
On
rise
that note,
again. Yeah, thank you so much.
Brother Garfield, St. Lucia will rise again if we, the people of St. Lucia,
rise up.
If we choose to make St. Lucia rise again, it will rise again.
Amen.
But if we cower, and if we sit at home, and if we do nothing, St. Lucia will not rise again. If we believe that St. Lucia will rise again, if we choose to make St. Lucia rise again, the power is in our hands. We live in a democratic state. The power is in the hands of the people. We elect a government to work on our behalf. We didn't elect a government to enslave us. We elected people to work for us. And it is up to us if we fire them too, because we can. We have that power. And we've got to stop fooling ourselves and saying they're the bosses, because they are not. We, the populace, we, St. Lucians, we have the power. They don't. So if we want them out, we get them out. We want a government that is going to look after every one of us, starting from the poorest of the poor to the elites.
Yeah.
Starting from the poorest of the poor that they gave the 3 huts to in Denver with holes and everything else in it, with the used plywood they pick up from wherever. We need to change what is going on here. And we have the power to do so.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
So
yes,
let us embolden ourselves. Let us pray. Let us ask God for strength. To give us the strength we need to get up and do something collectively about what's going on in St. Lucia. We are here and then we talking, St. Lucians. We forget things very fast. We need to remind ourselves of how bad this is getting, because it's not getting any better. It's only getting worse day after day. Let us embolden ourselves, stand up together collectively, and stand up to this so-called government that we have that is taking advantage of us presently.
Amen. Thank you so much, my friend, and have a beautiful night. Thanks for calling. You know that you're one of our favorite callers and supporters. This is my general manager. All right. We have one more call. Let's take one more call. Thank you, my friend. See ya.
Yes.
Okay, good. Caribbean American News Media, caller, you on the air.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening, my friend.
I want to follow up on the lady that just completed.
Yeah.
A lady that I want to meet with so much, but I want to take a different dimension. I want to take a different dimension on what she said, as it relates to the 15% in taxes for lumber, for the plywood and for the cement and for the steel.
Yeah.
True enough, Kenny Anthony gave that percentage on those same very items. Why did he give the percentage free? Because he had a good friend in Viewport who was building at the time, and that good friend has a business that sell lumber and all of those stuff, and she was building a whole lot. And if you check the records,
you would find out in all the building materials around that period of time who ordered more building materials. And you'd notice is that particular individual.
Wow.
Philip J. now has given the same discount on the same set of materials. Check it out. Who has the biggest contracts in St. Lucia today? Who is building more in St. Lucia today? Who gets the bigger contracts in St. Lucia today? Who has a building company selling building materials that is connected to the Labour Party? These are the questions that one needs to ponder on and come up with the conclusions. Okay? So it's always in favor of one individual.
Wow.
And they make it look as though they're helping the poor people. But the poor people do not have the capacity to buy as much material as those two respective individuals in the respective time when Kenny was there and now as Philip J. is there.
Wow.
So just check it out.
Okay.
And after it's over, see who have purchased or brought in more building materials, cement, steel, plywood, etc., etc. Those very items they're giving the VAT discount on. Okay?
Yeah.
I will not mention names, but we could figure it for ourselves.
Yes.
So just a different turn from what the lady was saying, and it's a lady I really want to get in touch with. If she's listening,
yes, she is.
I really need to get in touch with her.
Okay, then. Good, no problem.
All right.
Thank you so much, my friend. Blessings to you, sir. Blessings. Thanks for calling. Yeah. All right. Let me address Cooley. James. Cooley James want me to be here all night. All night. She want me to be here. Cooley. You know what? I'm going to find you and I'm going to give you a call. Because I have to counsel you. You have to go to bed. You got to go to bed, early to rise. Make a man healthy and rise. I suspect some of those Labour Party leaders don't go to bed too early. Hey, watch this space, folks. But listen to me. I appreciate all of you. Let me see here. All right, persons are agreeing with the caller. Sarah, yes. Cooley James, who buys here? Martin and all the others, Rachel, and Lauren. And matter of fact, Lauren went through the very same thing with person calling her family members and everything turning right now. There's so much problems that people have created in people's family, and it is sad. We want to avoid those kind of things, folks. We got to stay focused, stay positive, and I can tell you, together you can overcome, because like the black movement says, we shall overcome. One day the slaves cried out. And let me give you a little history before we go. The song that you guys love, Amazing Grace, How Sweet the Song. That Amazing Grace, How Sweet the Song came out of some serious pain and difficulties that this guy, Newton, was a slave ship owner. He would go to Africa, take the slaves, and bring them to England. And one day the guy was traveling and they encountered difficulties on the ocean. And that is where that song came out of, Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Newton called himself a wretch when the Lord arrested him on the ocean. You remember he was a slave driver. This guy had slaves in the bottom of the ocean. History, some people document it as history that it was the slaves, the back slaves, who were groaning in bitterness, and they started groaning the song, Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound, the music. And then Newton added those words, Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found, was blind, but now I see. And you know what? When Newton found Jesus, Newton started a movement to free black people, to free the slaves. So I can say to you, out of a bad situation, God have a way of arresting those whose intention are to enslave us, either mentally or whatever it is. God has a way of taking those same persons who mean bad for you, who means the worst for you. He have a way of changing their hearts, in softening them, and something beautiful will come out, brothers and sisters, of our discussion here on this platform. By the grace of God, for the next few months, something good will come out, and that something is that God will move, and He will hear your cry. You might be at the bottom of the ship. I say to you, friends, you hold on one more day. One more day, you will get through the storm. And those who once held you captive through food prices, higher taxes, lack of representation, bad roads, watch and see, watch this space. You will smile once again. Have no fear, friends. Amazing grace. How sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Folks, go to bed. Have a beautiful night. I have to travel tomorrow, God's willing. So please, coolly, I can't stay. I promise you that we'll have one of our shows. We'll have it up to 11:30 just for you. Me and you alone on the show. Everybody else will have to go to bed. So have a beautiful night. To those over there, Boss Lady, Lucy Queen, and everybody else on our platform, Joanne, Martina, everybody, good night to you. Blessings to you. Have a beautiful night. Remember to pray before you go to bed. Zoka, your papa put the exoka domi, ek demuka vinde zo. Exoka dise moun ki fe zo sa. Go and pray before you go to bed. Wash your face, wash your hand. And if you are the speaker of the house, go to bed how you want. But pray. Usa I domi ne put man here ouvle. Now the tout moun pwede, monsieur, bodie bon. He will see us through. Bodie kai when no through bagay sa. Ou check li, bodie kai ede no. Power recall. Domi, I domi, monsieur. Parfait anye fez all leve. Pave is affair moun a shay do. Zogale domi, men zogave is affair moun. You're in the curtain, they're watching the neighbor business. They're watching to see when the neighbor take off the light. Some of you know when the neighbor go to bed, when the neighbor get up, because all like a spies. You're all there in the all windows, they're peeping. Everybody peeping. Stop peeping and go to bed. Go and pray. And watch your bread, Lucian. Watch your bread. Watch your bread. The great man, Sean Compton, told you guys to watch your bread, Lucian. Watch your bread. Bessie, I domi bien. And remember that we are one family. We love each other. And we stay together. The family that prays together stays together. We will stay together. We will see it through. We will get there. Praise be to God. By His grace, we will get there. Stay the course, my friends. Don't give up. Don't be discouraged. Don't be disillusion. Hold on, my friends. Hold on for one more day. Read your Bible. Some of you don't read your Bible, so you're stunted. You're not growing. Ulako Humpty Dumpty's a bad grow. Read your Bible and pray every day. You will grow. Domi bien, I domi monsieur. I domi. Bonsoir. Yes, man. And those of you, let me tell you something. Those of you that have restless night, I wear glow ek fezo and pray. Stop watching the neighbor's house. I just saw somebody. I saw what you did last night, you hypocrite. You were spying on the neighbor. I dummy. Last volley leo swear, but you back with sa. Alrighty. Molly Mall, go to bed. Donovan, good night. Lauren, my sister, my friend. Good night. Boss lady, go to bed. Donovan, Queen, everybody. You see, I dummy. Alright. And for those of you who refuse to listen to me, exhaust Sav at about 12 o'clock. Zakai fe imagine. Zakai bunkai bushes. You saw what happened in Africa? The witch fly too late, and guess what? The thing the sun bushe her, and she land right on the people's house. Emergency people had to come and take her off the roof. Last volley, I swear. And you all don't have enough money to buy gas for the broom. Exoka tobe ale kaimun. You got imagines. All right. But remember this, my friends, God is watching over you. Remember, whatever you do, whatever you say, however you think, God is watching you. Praise be to God. Folks, have a beautiful night. I dummy miss you. I dummy. Mahalas. I have a plane to catch. Good night, folks. Coolie, upa is yourself, Coolie. Coolie, upa is yourself. Who landed at the police station? Oh, she landed on the police roof. The lesser police keep it out of the you push it, yeah. Good night, folks. And if you're not married, you're lonely, get your sheet and pillow and cover yourself, pray, go to bed. You don't want no trouble in your life. I dummy. Get up when you want, go to bed how you want. Pani Pearson put do magie. Munka crew can do sweetheart. You up? You alright? You have a headache? The bugla I dummy. My man. Every night, Kamodo esuni headache. Tite took for mal. You alright? You alright there? You up? Bagay ibuze pa ba I dummy. Tiboy. Labe fijayo boy glow. A guy dummy. My man. Tape put the bugla ulas. Go and try what I tell you for some of you to get in trouble. My man, so it's true. You all ever hear every night? You up? You alright? Your head hurting you? You good? You see, I think I dummy then. I put it. I probably by Boje. Well, man. Good night then, people. You alright there? Yaba be all day usab. All day yaba be you come on if you alright there. I could say Munda the boy I make a wrongs. Yeah man. I'm on the Claudius just pee in his bed. Claudius won't last do papi say adi da cabana. Papi say adi da cabana no ha last pale ba only tell my powers except I just how ka figure sir. And good night folks. See you.